nobody's perfect. But if a football player ever came close, it was Walter Payton. He could run, catch, block, throw, and even kick when the Bears needed it.
Hold on, bro. See, I ain't trying to keep pausing it, but bro, he had to throw that bit like he Payton Monty.
He could run, catch, block, throw, and even kick when the Bears needed it. 10 1,000-yard rushing seasons, over 16,000 rushing yards, a record 170 straight starts at one of the most brutal positions in all of sports. He once called knee surgery his 11,000-yard checkup. That's how durable he was. His motto was simple: never die easy. And he lived it every single down. By the time he retired in 1987, he was an MVP, Super Bowl champion, first ballot Hall of Famer, and he left the game as its all-time leading rusher. Then, even after his passing in 1999, the NFL found a way to honor what he truly stood for by naming its most prestigious award after him, the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Because Walter Payton wasn't just great or tough, he was sweetness. The most complete football player ever.
Walter Payton? I ain't gonna lie, I don't know too much about Walton, so we are here, bro. I got a lot of comments saying do Walter Payton, so hey, we are finally here, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Check the NBA Legends reaction playlist for more legends of the game, bro. Let me know in the comments what you want me to react to next. As far as he out there moving like a college football my player, like.
Trust me, his name is at the top of the list.
Growing up, Walter was the quiet drummer in the marching band. In fact, he once said his dream was to be a professional drummer. Meanwhile, his older brother Eddie was a star athlete, the kid everybody wanted to be. Walter didn't try to compete with Eddie, not because he couldn't, but because he didn't care to.
I don't think he wanted to compete against his brother.
He had his own thing. But when Eddie graduated, eventually heading off to play in the NFL, the football team lost their heartbeat. And suddenly, Coach Charles Boston came looking for someone to fill those shoes. And Walter was the last person anyone expected. And when the coach asked him to join the team, Walter said he would, only on one condition: that he'd still play in the band at halftime. The deal was set. And on the very first carry of his high school football career, Walter Payton went 65 yards to the house. By his senior year, he was leading his team to one of their best seasons ever. And in a town still dealing with the tension of newly desegregated schools, Walter's play somehow brought people together. He made the All-State team, led the Little Dixie Conference in scoring, and even while doing all that, he still played basketball, baseball, ran track, and never gave up the drums. But when Walter graduated, colleges didn't exactly come calling. So he took the hard route, committing to a small HBCU program known as Jackson State. But the thing is,
he went to Jackson State?
Because he ran like the ground had insulted him. Defenders would close in and he'd drop a shoulder with this perfect blend of violence and grace. Then the next
I didn't know he went to Jackson State. That's crazy. That's hard.
play, he'd soar over the pile like a hurdler. This was where Sweetness was born, though that nickname was almost a joke at first. Some said it came from his easygoing personality, others from how smooth he looked when he ran. But anyone who faced him knew there was nothing sweet about tackling Walter Payton. On September 23, 1972, against Lane College, Walter put up 7 rushing touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions for 46 total points. From there, he just kept building.
What the fuck is you talking about, bro?
What the fuck was that?
So he had 8 touchdowns?
His legend. Over 4 years, he racked up 3,563 rushing yards and 66 touchdowns. He became a 2-time Black College Player of the Year and an All-American. He once told his teammates he wanted to leave a mark that couldn't be erased. And by the time he graduated in 1974, he'd done exactly that, leaving Jackson State as the NCAA's all-time leading scorer with 464 points coming from rushing and receiving touchdowns, and even 5 field goals and 53 extra points. NFL scouts had finally caught wind of this kid who had the power of a fullback, the balance of a gymnast, and the hands of a wide receiver. He wasn't any deep secret. Everyone in the country knows about him. Then came draft day, where the Bears won a coin flip with Cleveland for the 4th overall pick. When Atlanta took Steve Bartkowski first, and the Colts and Cowboys passed on Payton, Chicago held its breath.
Chicago Bears, first-round selection. Walter Payton, P-A-Y-T-O-N. Running back, Jackson State.
They got their guy. Head coach Jack Party even admitted later, what happened is what we were hoping for. Had we been in Atlanta's spot, we'd have chosen Walter Payton. We thought that much of him. After being drafted, Payton said, when I get through with Chicago, they'll be loving me. He wasn't lying. But things didn't exactly start too hot, because in his rookie debut, Payton had 8 carries for 0 yards. It didn't help that the Bears' offensive line was terrible. Their play calling was predictable, and the team hadn't had a winning season in nearly a decade. week by week, something started to change. He was working hard.
Would you talk about how you go about conditioning yourself in the off season? What do you do to stay in shape?
I can explain it in one word. I know what you're gonna ask me. You're gonna ask me to explain it more. What I try to do is I try to kill myself.
What do you mean?
See, man, y'all old folks, bro. Y'all was dangerous, man. Y'all dangerous.
Work myself out to the extent where when I'm through,
I understand what he's saying.
I can't walk.
By the end of the season, the Bears were still bad, finishing 4-10. But Payton had become the one thing worth watching. He finished with 679 yards, 7 touchdowns, and missed 1 game. The only game he would miss in his entire career. And it was only because he held out against his will with a sprained ankle. He was so upset. He was mad at me, the coach, and everybody else. I remember thinking, this guy is never going to be held out of another football game. And then in the season finale against New Orleans, something clicked. Payton exploded for 134 yards on just 20 carries, a glimpse of what was coming. Because by 1976, he was stronger, quicker, and meaner with the football in his hands. Walter finished with 1,390 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns. He made his first Pro Bowl. He earned first-team All-Pro honors as the Bears steadily improved to 7-7. By 1977, defenses stacked the box, knowing exactly what was coming, but it didn't matter. Then, on November 20th, the Bears were facing the Minnesota Vikings, the mighty Purple People Eaters, one of the most feared defenses in football. That morning, Walter Payton wasn't thinking,
the Purple People Eaters? What are we talking about, man? See, I know about the steel curtain. Purple People Eaters?
about football. He was fighting to get out of bed. He'd been sick for days. Chills, 101-degree fever, body aching. He later said, I had hot and cold flashes on Wednesday and felt weak. I didn't even think I was going to play. You put your faith in God and he'll take care of you. The trainers told him to sit this one out, but Walter Payton refused. In the first half, the entire offense ran through Sweetness. Literally, he caught the half's only pass, a 6-yarder, and carried the ball 26 times before halftime. And by the end of the day, Payton had carried the ball 40 times for 275 yards and a touchdown, breaking O.J. Simpson's single-game rushing record, a record that would stand untouched for 23.
Walter Payton, 275? Ooh! It gave them boys hell. 275.
For years. It was the single greatest performance the NFL had ever seen, and it had been done with the flu. By the end of the year, Walter Payton had led the entire NFL with 1,852 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns, and 2,121 total yards. He made the Pro Bowl, earned first-team All-Pro honors, and was named the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year as he carried Chicago literally to their first playoff appearance in 14 years and won MVP. A rare feat for a running back. But once they got to the playoffs, reality hit hard. In the divisional round, the Cowboys' doomsday defense swarmed Payton all afternoon, holding him to just 60 rushing yards on 19 carries, as Chicago fell 37-7. A year later, Walter's dominance continued as he racked up 1,395
Bro, it look like one of them, you know them pinball machines, like beep, 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 beep. Hey, where y'all got Walter Payton ranked as far as running backs wise?
7. A year later, Walter's dominance continued as he racked up 1,395 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns. But those numbers only tell half the story, because Chicago's offense was a mess. Most Sundays, the Bears' strategy was painfully simple. Give it to Sweetness and pray. And somehow it worked, because Walter didn't just find yards, he created them. He'd spin through a crowd, stiff-arm one defender, leap over another, and finish runs like he was angry the play had to end. Walter said it best, never die easy. Why run out of bounds and die easy? Make that linebacker pay. But in 1979, something changed. Under new head coach Neil Armstrong, no, not the astronaut, the team started building an identity around Payton's style. That season, he carried the ball a league-high 369 times, bulldozing his way to 1,610 rushing yards and 16 total touchdowns. It was his 4th straight year over 1,300 yards. Calling him just a running back didn't even make sense anymore. He was a receiver, he was a blocker. He threw a touchdown pass that year, and at one point, he even filled in as a punter. Whatever the team needed, Walter did it. No questions asked. Teammates said his willpower bordered on insane. After games where he carried the ball 30 or 40 times, While others sat in ice baths, Payton would jog out of the locker room and go run hills because he didn't feel tired enough. I try to run on the hottest days, at the hottest time, because that's the most difficult time, and sometimes I worry about drying out and dying. In 1980 and 1981, he put up 1,460 and then 1,220.
What Earl came out there doing? Earl came out there with turkey legs and horse meat as for thighs.
In 1981, he put up 1,460 and then 1,222 rushing yards, pushing his streak of 1,000-plus rushing yards to 6 years. But a year later, things got weird. A players' strike cut the season to just 9 games.
The players are the most important element in the game of football. Without the players, there ain't no game.
And most players came back out of rhythm, not Walter. His famous hill helped him stay sharp and finish top 10 in rushing yards that year. It's about between 50 and 60 yards long, and it's at an angle where if you go halfway to the top and you tried to stop, you'd probably end up slipping down. You'd think by now Sweetness had proven enough. He'd won the MVP, made 5 All-Pro teams, and at 29 years old, he was already beating the clock. Most running backs don't make it to 26, but Payton, he was just getting better. The Bears had hired a new head coach in Mike Ditka a year earlier, and young stars were popping up on defense. Mike Singletary, Richard Dent, Dan Hampton. Walter rushed for over 1,400 yards in 1983, earning yet another Pro Bowl nod. But the following season, he underwent arthroscopic surgery on both knees. Payton famously referred to the surgery as his 11,000-yard checkup, and he played through significant knee issues throughout his career, showcasing his legendary
Get
toughness.
off me!
Following the surgery, Payton came back better than ever, and on October 7th, against the New Orleans Saints, history unfolded. In the third quarter, Payton caught a pitch, slipped past the line, and burst off the left side for 6 yards. Walter Payton had just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher, passing Jim Brown's record that had stood for nearly 2 decades. He finished that 84 season with 1,684 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, and another playoff appearance, Chicago's first real taste of success in years. The Bears made it to the NFC Championship game, but fell short against San Francisco. Still, you could tell something special was forming, because the 1985 Bears were a spectacle. Mike Ditka brought the fire, Buddy Ryan brought the chaos, and that locker room was overflowing with personality. McMahon's headbands, the Fridge's charisma, Singletary's death stare. And at the center of it all stood Walter Payton, the calm within the storm. That year, he rushed for over 1,500 yards, caught 49 passes, and scored 11 touchdowns at 31 years old. And that confidence, that dominance, it all bled into the team's identity. Before the playoffs even began, the Bears recorded the Super Bowl Shuffle. It was cocky, it was bold, it was pure 1980s Chicago. In the NFC divisional round, the Bears beat the Giants in a 21-0 shutout. A week later, they beat the Rams in a 24-0 demolition. And then destiny. Super Bowl 20, the Bears versus the New England Patriots. From the opening kickoff, it was an avalanche. Chicago unleashed the most dominant defense the league had ever seen, backed by an offense that moved with swagger and purpose. And by the time it was over, the scoreboard read 46-10. The Bears were world champions, their first title in over 2 decades. But for all the touchdowns that day, Walter Payton never reached the end zone. In fact, when the Bears found themselves at the 1-yard line, Ditka called a handoff to 335-pound William Refrigerator Perry.
They said, man, forget about Walter, man. We're going to give it to Fridge. And I ain't mad at that. I got to watch the Chicago Bears, the 85 Bears. I got to just watch the Bears defense. If y'all want that reaction, let me know in the comments. You're not going to give it to Walter? You're not going to let Walter get a touchdown? That's his dream. But that's crazy.
Instead of Walter.
Oh, no.
I apologized to him. I didn't think it was that important. I really was worried about winning the football game, winning the Super Bowl.
Up 46.
It never came to my mind. I made a gross mistake. Payton's response was simple. I was upset, a little hurt. Was. Not now. I got over it right away. You know how it is. You work all these years, you want to do well in the big game,
and
then something like that takes away from the moment. Because for Payton, it was never about the touchdown. It was about the journey. While the world remembered the shuffle, Walter Payton's real dance was 11 years of pure work, heart, and humility that made him the soul of the NFL's greatest team. And this Bears team was far from done. Because in 1986, Sweetness rushed for 1,333 rushing yards and found the end zone 11 times. Chicago rolled through the regular season, finishing 14-2. Soldier Field was electric, the city expecting another deep playoff run. However, that quest for a repeat championship ended when the Redskins defeated the Bears 27-13 in the divisional round. And not long after the season ended, Sweetness announced that the 1987 campaign would be his last. It hit Chicago like a gut punch.
Damn.
The man who had carried the franchise through its darkest days was preparing to say goodbye. But Payton didn't want a farewell tour. He didn't want pity or applause. He wanted to finish his way. Because even after 12 years, an MVP, a rushing record, and a Super Bowl ring, Walter Payton's story still wasn't finished, even if it meant splitting touches with Neil Anderson. However, Payton's career ended with another loss to the Washington Redskins in the divisional round of the playoffs, this time by the score of 21-17.
Damn.
While he was gone, his legacy remained. When people debate the greatest running backs ever, you'll hear names like,
well, I got Barry at 1. I got Walter Payton. I got Jim Brown.
So Barry Walter.
Emmett.
But what made Walter Payton different was how complete he was. Run, throw, catch, kick, you name it. And his playing style was just as complete. The stutter step froze defenders. The stiff arm punished them. The leap over the pile broke their will. And his motto,
never die easy,
summed it all up. He refused to run out of bounds, choosing contact over comfort every time. Off the field, he was just as remarkable. Charitable, humble, and respected by everyone, Payton inspired the NFL to name its most prestigious humanitarian honor after him, the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. There's no weakness in his resume, no hole in his game, just a flawless mix of power, skill, and heart. The most perfect football player ever. And if you enjoyed this video,
I ain't even gonna lie, bro. Barry definitely probably number 1. I gotta do a Barry highlight reaction too. That's also I gotta do that as well. I don't know if Barry number 1. I gotta do Barry because Walter, bro. I watched Bo Jackson, even though Bo Jackson ain't play that long, bro. But hey, I gotta watch more. You know what I'm saying? So we can figure out who the best running back. Let me know y'all top 5 running backs. But I'm gonna show you next video, man. Y'all already know what to do. Hype the video, turn me up. And I appreciate everybody who supported the channel, man. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.